now that we already looked at what logs were as the inverse of exponents and we rewrote them, now we're going to evaluate those logs. So we're going to find the log of some number. What is it equal to? What is that value? Before we evaluate logs, just as a reminder, we talked about the common log, or a log that does not have a base written is always log base 10. Okay, so if you see a log and no base number right here, then automatically is 10. There is another log we use often, which is called a natural log. A natural log isn't written as log, L-O-G, it is instead written as natural log, or LN. Okay, it's not a 1 and it's not an I, it's an L, so LN. So this natural log, again, does not have a base number written here. It automatically is base E. So when you see a natural log, it will not have a base number written ever. Its base is always E. All right, so let's start evaluating. So I've got these two logs here that we're going to start by evaluating on our calculator. Okay, so we're going to find the log of 15, and then we're going to find the natural log of 15. We're just going to type them right into our calculator. There are buttons that actually have log on them and natural log on them. They are in the left-hand column of your graphing calculator. All right, so I'm going to type in on my calculator log of 15. So on my left-hand side, I find the button that says log, and I hit that, and then I put in 15. Sometimes your calculator puts in parentheses, and sometimes it doesn't, depends on the calculator. And now I just hit enter, and that's it. That's the log of 15. That's if there's no base number, it's base 10. Log of 15 is 1.18. Let's round it to the hundredths place just for this problem, 1.18. All right, so that was log of 15. So let's find the natural log of 15 now. So in my calculator, on the left-hand side on my calculator, see LN button. So natural log, and I wanted to find natural log of 15. Just hit enter, and this one was 2.71. Okay, so that is how we evaluate with the calculator if we have a common log or base 10, like we did in example A, or if we have a natural log which has base E in example B. All right, so we're going to evaluate again, and some of these we're going to evaluate without the calculator just because it's going to be faster, and some of these we're going to use our calculator, and that's completely fine, and I'll show you how to do it if the base is something other than 10 or E, because it's not a button. We'll have to go into a different menu to find it. All right, so what we're actually doing when we're evaluating, like this first example, log base 5 of 25, is we're actually looking for what the exponent was. So I don't know what this is equal to. I'll just put equals question mark. And if we think about the other day when we rewrote these, what this means is our base 5 to what power, right, that's what I don't know, that's what I'm looking for, is equal to 25. So that's all you need to ask yourself on these. If you know them in your head, great, we'll write them down. If not, we'll put it into our calculator. So log base 5 of 25 just means 5 to what power is 25, and the answer is 2, right? 5 to the second power is 25. So for example B, again, I don't know what this log is, so we're going to ask ourselves, and I'll put it over here to the side, 3 to what power is 27? Well, 3 to the third power is 27. And notice I can find that answer very quickly without having to use my calculator. If you wanted to, I will show you how to do that. All right, example C. Now, I don't see the base there, but I automatically know when there's a log with no base that it's 10. So you're asking yourself, 10 to what power is 10? 10 to the first power is 10. If you need to write it on the side, do it and ask yourself what that answer is. You can. If you can just do it in your head, that's totally fine. All right, example D. Log base 2 of 16. So you're asking yourself, 2 to what power is 16? Maybe you know it, maybe you don't, maybe you can just play around in your calculator and try different numbers. And we'll find, or maybe we know, that 2 to the 4th power is 16. All right, so let's look at example E. Well, let's see. I'm looking to figure out 2 to what power is 1/8. Well, I don't know if I know that in my head. I know 2 to the 3rd power is 8, but I'm trying to get 1/8. Well, maybe you remember that a negative exponent would move something to the denominator. So if I already know 2 to the 3rd was 8, how do I make it 1/8? Make the exponent negative. So my answer would be -3. But if you didn't know that in your head, it's okay. I'm going to show you how to put in your calculator right now. So on our calculator, we had already used log and natural log buttons, but those are base 10 or base E. So if our base was something different, like in our problem it was base 2, we're going to hit the math menu. And in the math menu, we're going to scroll down however far it takes to find the one that says log base A. I'm sorry, log base. In our example, it's A. All right, so I have a log, and then it's got my little cursor for my base. So I'm putting in my base was 2, and I was trying to find the log base 2 of 1/8. So I just hit enter, and we find that the answer was -3, so we were correct. Okay, so let's try to find log base 4 of 32. So I'm asking myself 4 to what power is 32? So I can write that on the side if that helps, so think about it. I could try in my calculator, well, 4 to the 1st, no, 4 to the 2nd, 16, no, 4 to the 3rd is 64. So I can't think of a number 4 to what power is 32. I know 4 times 8 is 32, but that's not an exponent. So I guess I better rely on my calculator. So in my calculator, I'm going to go to the math menu. I'm going to scroll till I find log base. I'm going to put my base in, it was 4, and it was log base 4 of 32, and hit enter, and my answer is 2.5. So that means if I were to check 4 to the 2.5 power, it would give me 32. And no wonder I didn't know it in my head. It was a decimal. All right, let's just evaluate 4 more. Okay, so there's 4 left. All right, so I have log base 1/2 of 16. So I'm trying to figure out 1/2 to what power is 16. Well, I don't really know a lot with bases that are fractions, but I know 2 to the 4th is 16. And because there's a fraction there, I'm guessing that that ends up being -4. But let's say I don't know for sure. I'm going to use my calculator. Okay, so use the math menu. Find the base, log base. All right, my base was 1/2, and I was trying to find log base 1/2 of 16. And my answer was -4. All right, so now it looks like I've switched over to some natural log problems. So remember, natural log automatically has base E, always, no matter what. And if it helps, we can put a little E in there. So this problem is asking us, our base E to what power is E? Well, E to the 1st power would be E. It's not changing anything. And we could put that into our calculator if we want to. I'll do that for another example. All right, let's take a look at J. So again, my base is E. So E to what power gives me E to the 3rd? Well, 3, right? E to the 3rd equals E to the 3rd. And lastly, again, base E. So I'm asked E to what power is 1? Well, we haven't used E that much. I know it's approximately 2.7 something. But, E to what power is 1? Well, I bet we all know that there's some power. There's one number that we can always have as the exponent that will always give us 1. If you're not sure, I'm going to use my calculator. All right, so I don't have to use the math menu. I can use natural log again. There's a button for it. So I'm looking for natural log of 1. See if you know if you got your answer right. And the answer was 0. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. Okay, so my answer was 0. Again, e to the 0 equals 1. And really, we could have had log of with base 10 of 1. And my answer is still 0, right? 10 to the 0 power equals 1. I could have log with any base. Log base 7 of 1 still equals 0, right? 7 to the 0 power equals 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1.